Donald Trump defends the midterms. A lot of people are blaming him. A lot of people say it's inappropriate, including Marjorie Taylor Greene says it's not his fault. He's not responsible for this. But we are going to go through several different clips. One of Trump saying that we're ready to defend ourselves. Okay, we stood by our candidates. We endorsed who we endorsed, and we continue to stand by them. And he did that last night as the results were coming in. He came out and he said, hey, our record looks pretty great. Here's the number of candidates that we endorsed, and here's how things are looking. We're going to ask ourselves in a bit whether Trump should continue to announce. Of course, he's scheduled for an announcement on November 15th. Is that going to continue to happen, or should it wait now that the results have come in? But we've got our first clip. Donald Trump, before the returns came in, had a very interesting clip, which is going viral all over Twitter. Trump is asked by the media, hey, if you win tonight, if your candidates are very successful, do you take credit for that? And conversely, if you lose, are you taking credit for that? And here's what Donald Trump had to say.
You've endorsed more than 330 candidates this election cycle. Tonight, win or lose, the results for Republicans, how much of that will be because of Donald Trump?
Well, I think if they win, I should get all the credit. And if they lose, I should not be blamed at all, okay? But it'll probably be just the opposite. When they win, I think they're going to do very well. I'll probably be given very little credit, even though in many cases I told people to run. And they ran, and they turned out to be very good candidates. You know, they've turned out to be very good candidates. But usually what would happen is when they do well, I won't be given any credit. And if they do badly, they will blame everything on me. So I'm prepared for anything, but we'll defend ourselves.
We'll defend ourselves. And I think he's being pretty jokey there, right? Like that's an actual joke. You can see it in his face. Okay, a lot of people on Twitter are melting down over this video. They're saying Donald Trump is literally talking about a double standard, right? It's a double standard. He's saying, I only take credit if I win, and I take no credit if I lose. Now, I think that realistically, he knows that he's taking a lot of credit for an underperforming night. He is evidently, according to many people in the news, upset about some of the results. He's, rehashing a lot of this with his advisors, as we will get to, right? They're having conversations with him about the consequences of an underperforming night. But many Twitter heads are out there saying that this was a serious thing. And if you watch his face, my friends, he knows this is a ridiculous statement. Watch his smirk on his face.
You've endorsed more than 330 candidates this election cycle. Tonight, win or lose,
put a pin in that
the
number.
Results for Republicans, how much of that will be because of Donald Trump?
Well, I think if they win, I should get all the credit. And if they lose, I should not be blamed at all, okay?
He's
but
smirking.
It'll probably be just the opposite.
And it's funny.
When they win, I think they're going to do very well. I'll probably be given very little credit, even though in many cases I told people to run. And they ran, and they turned out to be very good candidates. You know, they've turned out to be very good candidates. But usually what would happen is when they do well, I won't be given any credit. And if they do badly, they will blame everything on me. So I'm prepared for anything, but we'll defend ourselves.
We'll defend ourselves. That's a funny clip, okay? He's not being serious about that. All of the meltdown taking place on Twitter, it's just a joke, guys. It's just a joke. Now, there are some people saying that this is inappropriate to blame Donald Trump. One of them is Marjorie Taylor Greene. She says, in fact, it's ridiculous, and that anybody who is blaming Trump is being lazy and stupid. And so we're going to check in with her in a minute. But first, we have to talk about something very important. It's about gold. If you have an IRA or a 401k or a savings account, you know that things are pretty scary out there. The Biden administration has already printed more money in the past 2 years than the previous 100 years combined. The national debt hit a record $30 trillion. Inflation is the highest we've seen since 1982. It's only a matter of time before the house of cards comes crashing down. If you have a retirement account, your money could be at serious risk. I'd invite you to talk to my friends at Goldco to see how you can protect your retirement with gold and silver before it's too late. Go to robertlikesgold.com. They're going to give you $10,000 or more in free silver when you open up a qualifying account. That's robertlikesgold.com. You see it right there on your screen. It's for U.S. only at robertlikesgold.com. Better Business Bureau, A+ rated, and an amazing company. Get your gold. Now, we have to check in. Donald Trump is being castigated by many people in the media, many people in the Republican Party, almost being made to be the scapegoat for all of the electoral problems that took place after the midterms. But others in the Republican Party say it's not Trump's fault. He's just being blamed because it's the easy option. People are just lazy. It's ultimately a much bigger issue. Trump has been working his butt off to try to make the GOP successful.
Now, they're trying to blame President Trump today, and I want to tell you how short-sighted and ridiculous that is. It is pathetic. The people that are running out saying, it's Trump's fault. No, that is a lazy, pathetic, wimpy, easy mindset. They just want one thing, and then they want to carry on without doing the hard work, the real changes in the Republican Party and the way we fight the fight. Here's why it's not Trump's fault. Trump has been being politically persecuted for the past 2 years now, ever since January 6th. He went out and did 30 Save America rallies all over the country. He endorsed something like 285 candidates. He held over 50 fundraisers, helped raise over $350 million for all these Republican tax stations. President Trump isn't the problem. President Trump is doing everything he can to help Republicans across this country and help Republicans win while he is being politically persecuted worse than any human being in our country's history. That's the real truth. People that want to blame Trump, they are lazy, and that's the problem. We have to do the real work, fix our issues in our party, to fix issues in our state elections and all over the country. We have to wrap up those issues instead of blaming one man. So I'm not going to have that today.
She has a good point on that, right? It's very easy to just blame Trump for everything. As we talked about previously, there wasn't much of a unified message from the GOP. There hasn't been one. It's just sort of been kind of a bunch of kids stuck in a corner somewhere who are just kind of waiting for the Trump, show to wrap up before they can sort of scoot back into power. But that's not leadership, right? Waiting for somebody that you don't like to just sort of, burn themselves out and go by the wayside is not what Americans are clamoring for. Instead, we want some actual real solutions, right? We want a mission, we want some vision, we want some values that people are following, just like Mayor Suarez promoted. He told us about low taxes, safety, and innovation. Pretty easy. Where has the Republican message been? Instead, they just want to turn around and yell at Donald Trump, who's really been the only person talking about much of anything, and say that it's all his fault, rather than holding the mirror up to themselves at the Republican Party and saying, where were some of our infrastructure problems? Because not every one of these races is Donald Trump's fault. Marjorie Taylor Greene, I think, is actually on the mark on this one. Now, a lot of people, this is their fake because. This is their excuse to go and now make a strong pivot to say, oh, now this is a great opportunity. Now we can finally ditch Trump because we have an opening.
It needs to end, and I'm sick and tired of it. We have to figure out how to come together and work this party. And Steve, I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to be pushing as hard as possible in the front on how to do that, because I have a clear vision for it, but it's going to require a lot of people doing the hard work. Can't solve problems overnight. Have to actually do the hard work to make it happen.
It's Marjorie Taylor Greene saying, don't blame Trump. It's not his fault. There are a lot of other people who should be looked at under the microscope, not only the former president. As results made their way in after the midterms, some people started to point fingers at Trump. Trump took to the podium and defended his endorsements. He said, I've endorsed over 300 people, and a huge percentage of those individuals have won and been successful. So failure? I'm not so sure.
Well, thank you very much, everybody. This has been a very exciting night. We have some races that are hot and heavy, and we're all watching them here. And some of you like the music so much that you'd rather hear the music, and I understand that very well. So we're doing combinations of both. I'd like to welcome the fake news media, which is back there.
Shout out to the fake news.
There's a lot of people back there. That's incredible. That's a big group. They must be expecting something big tonight. Actually, they were hoping for big losses, but that's not happening. So the numbers have been amazing so far. Now, this is just up until this point. But as of this moment on endorsements, with the nominations, we had a total of 330 endorsements on nominations. This is only on nominations. This isn't for tonight. And of the 330, we won 200. We won 324. So if you think 224, and some of those were long shots, in all fairness. They were down in fifth place. We had a lot of people in fifth place that went to first, but it was 224 out of 330, and that's a pretty good number. And then tonight, because they kept saying, well, he's good on nominations, but is he good on the general election? So as of this moment, and we have some out there, we are 80 wins and 3 losses. Is that good? Wouldn't that be funny if we were better on the general election than the nominations themselves? So that's great. Now, in North Carolina, just out, Ted Budd is now leading. Doing great. He's leading 51-47.
I don't know the accuracy of all of these races, right? This is an update as these things are still coming in, and we still don't have final numbers. But I wanted to share this with you just so you could see what his strategy is, right? How he's going to be sort of rebutting some of the allegations that he's responsible for the state of affairs. He's going to say, no, I'm not. I endorsed all of these people. These are the people who won, right? People will take a look and they'll point at Oz. They'll say Oz, didn't do well, and they'll blame him for that. Or they'll say Walker should have crushed and walked away and blame him for that, or some of the other losses. But here he's going to say, yes, some of those are true, but he's going to do the same thing that Joe Biden does, right? You just pick the numbers you want and you just manipulate them to serve your argument. You don't want to focus on the bad stuff. You want to focus on the good stuff. And that's the strategy that he's employing right now. And you can expect a lot more of that right over the next several days.
In Missouri, very good guy, Eric Schmidt is now up
and 55
to 43. And he's against a Bush, but a different Bush. It's called an Anheuser-Busch. That's a different Bush. You tell me which is the real Bush. In Ohio, J.D. Vance is now leading, 52-47.
J.D. Vance won.
And we had an incredible rally last night in Ohio. And you saw that in Florida, Marco Rubio, we had an unbelievable rally for Marco the night before with the heaviest rain I've ever been involved with. I was up there. It was beautiful, everything. This is the tropics, right, Florida? It was so beautiful. It was the most beautiful night. And all of a sudden, it turned deadly dark. And it was like you had massive pails of water that just fell on top of me. We went through the worst storm, but we gutted it out. I had no teleprompters. We had 45,000 people out there. We had no teleprompter. And I said, I wonder what Biden would do right now. But we gutted it out, and it was amazing. But Marco had a fantastic evening at 58-41. That's really tremendous. That's as of this moment. Katie Britt, I want to congratulate Katie Britt. We endorsed Katie, and she did fantastically, 68-30.
See, so he's just picking the ones that have done very well. So you see the opposite narrative, right? The left and a lot of the mainstream Republicans, they're going to pick every single failure. They're going to highlight every single failure. Trump's just doing the opposite. He's highlighting all of the good stuff.
That means she has a future, young and just a fantastic woman with a husband who's great. He's maybe the largest human being I've ever seen. He was a offensive lineman in the NFL for a long time and a great football player, actually. Played for Alabama. But Katie, congratulations to you. And we have a lot of other good ones going out there. Herschel's leading right now. So we have a lot of big races going on right now. So enjoy that, enjoy the food, and enjoy everything. And really, in all fairness, it is a great honor to have the media with us, and we hope you enjoy yourself. And
shout out to the media.
This wonderful group of people. These are the people that you read about. They are.
Shout out to the media from Donald Trump, and he's, I think, sincere about that. So they're having a little bit of an election watch party, waiting for the results to come in. But that's Trump's approach. That's how he's going to be addressing, any claims, any criticisms that are coming out from the left or from the mainstream Republican Party. They're just saying, those are the bad ones. Stop focusing on the bad ones. In general, right, the conversation will be that Donald Trump and his endorsements were significant and substantial, and that they actually were consequential. Joe Biden says that he's not changing a dang thing. Did I already play this one? I feel like I've already played that one. Was that earlier here? I can't even remember what the heck we're doing. Yeah, Joe Biden already said, we already played that one. So this is a different one. This is Joe Biden who said that Trump is basically ineffective now. Reporter asks President Biden after the midterms whether he's still a little bit nervous about Donald Trump. You know, Biden hasn't announced that he's running in 2024 yet, but says he's got the intention of doing so. So is he concerned about Trump after these results?
That the former president will not return, or that his political movement, which is still very strong, will not once again take power in the United States.
Oh, yeah? You sure about that? Donald Trump is still strong. The president doesn't agree. The reporter certainly does. The reporter feels like, yeah, you might have a little concern with him, but president apparently says no. A lot of questions about whether Donald Trump should announce his run for presidency. He hinted that he was going to on November 15th. But Kayleigh McEnany, who served in the Trump administration as the White House press secretary and advisor, says that it's probably not a good time, saying Trump should really wait now that the Georgia election is going to be going to a runoff, that is more important, that everything else has to take the back burner.
And that could go straight through the state of Georgia on December 6th.
Does that include Trump?
I think he needs to put it on pause. Absolutely. Look, he'll make that decision. He'll make his own decision. But
does he go to Georgia?
If I'm advising any contender, DeSantis, Trump, whomever, no one announces 2024 until we get through December 6th.
Do you see the former president a need for him to go to Georgia?
I think we've got to make strategic calculations. Governor DeSantis, I think he should be welcome to the state, given what happened last night. You got to look at the realities on the ground. And Herschel Walker, we've got to win the Senate. That's it, guys. Got to win the Senate.
All right, we'll move on.
So Trump, according to Kayleigh, should not be announcing that anytime soon. But there's a problem with that because we have this chicken or the egg game that we're playing here. And if Trump doesn't announce, that extends the window of time that the Department of Justice has to indict him. And I think this is consequential. If Trump announces first and the indictment comes after the fact, it's going to make the indictment look political. If the indictment comes first and then Trump runs after the indictment, it may make some people think that he's only running to try to escape criminal liability of the indictment. I think from a strategic advantage, it makes more sense to announce first, but which is why he wants to announce early. But if he doesn't announce early, then that's going to be giving the DOJ more time to potentially consider on pursuing criminal charges, indicting him, truly. Welcome to Linda Graham, who just became a supporter on YouTube. Jason Miller also says Trump should probably hold off on that announcement. He's set to make a big statement on November 15th from Mar-a-Lago. Many people saying it's going to be his official run for president. But Jason Miller says not a good idea, saying he's advising the president to wait.
Now, you just said everything over the next month is about Herschel Walker. Having said that, I understood there could be an announcement before that. From somebody that resides at Mar-a-Lago. So does that change his plans as far as announcing?
So no formal decision yet. Of course, President Trump had said that he would be making an announcement on November 15th, next Tuesday. I'm advising the president to hold off until after the Georgia race, after Herschel Walker. Priorities A, B, and C need to be about Herschel right now. This is bigger than anything else in the country. We got to show the focus is on Georgia, keep the country rallying. And a really critical point here is that Brian Kemp holds many of the cards for what's going to happen with Herschel Walker. There were a lot of the Kemp-Warnock ticket splitters. Kemp didn't do anything for Herschel Walker in the general election. If Kemp wants to show that he's a leader with some brighter future ahead of him, then he needs to get out there and really hustle for Herschel Walker. We need all hands on deck for this one.
Yeah. That's two people now advising Donald Trump to hold off on the announcement. We'll see if he does that. We have just a short couple days till we're expecting more on that. But only time will tell whether he decides to throw all in behind the Senate or move forward with the announcement. We'll find out next week. We have Nigel Farage, who was here in Scottsdale at the Kerry Lake campaign, and a lot of questions about Trump running for a second term. People asking who's going to be his vice presidential nominee. Can't possibly be Mike Pence. They have a little bit of a problem with each other these days. So who else could slot in there and might be a good contender?
Trump can't pick DeSantis. There's too much rivalry. It won't work. It'll be a disaster. So who is Trump going to pick as his running mate? I think Carrie Lake's the perfect pick. I think there's a better than 50% chance if she wins tonight, next Tuesday, she gets announced.
Whoa.
I think he fully intends to run. I'd be very surprised if he doesn't. And clearly, Mar-a-Lago is the place where he would choose to do it. So, yeah, I fully expect Trump to announce next Tuesday.
Says Trump will announce, and if Carrie Lake also wins, he thinks that next Tuesday that Trump will announce alongside Carrie Lake. Carrie Lake would be his vice presidential nominee from day one. Wow. Big prognostication from our friend from the UK, Nigel Farage, saying that Trump cannot possibly run with DeSantis, but maybe Carrie Lake would be a better option. So Donald Trump defends his midterm. He's got several people at his back, including Marjorie Taylor Greene and others, but we're going to wait and see what he does with his announcement. We'll continue to cover. I hope you join us as we do that. Thank you for subscribing wherever it is you're watching this and liking this video, and we look forward to seeing you on the next one.